Hi everyone, it's Tiffany Sharp and I have a lot of pomegranates to share with you today. Ooh, they're kind of bouncing around. And other non-pomegranate creations that were just fun to play around with because I have been playing with masking fluid, which if you don't know what that is, there are a few different types of masking fluid out there. And I'm actually going to just give you a quick tutorial on the masking fluid that I have and how I like to use it. And I did use it to create these really cool effects. I mainly used it to show off some of the marks that are on the inside of the pomegranates. I mean, look at how cool that is. And then I worked on top of that. You can add paint on top once it dries, and you can mask off areas, or just like, here's a good example here where I just directly applied the masking fluid to the paper and then I painted on top, and then you can remove the masking fluid and it just goes back to the white paper, which is great. However, the way I experimented with it is by putting paint on, then masking fluid, then more paint on. So we're creating lots and lots of layers. So that's actually a technique that I do with these pomegranates in my Simply Watercolor series Pomegranates lesson. And some of it I remove paint. It's called lifting. So I just go through a couple of fun and simple watercolor techniques to create these pomegranates. So that's what's in the course if you want to know what's in the course. And like all of my Simply Watercolor series, they're designed to be accessible. They're designed for the beginner in mind. They're designed to give you some quick, applicable techniques that you can use for this lesson and anything else you want to paint. But it's not like packed full of every single watercolor technique, or it actually includes a ton of watercolor techniques, but I just go in depth. I just choose a couple for each lesson and I go more in depth with those. So in this one, I talked about layering. I talked about lifting, which I've done before. Lifting was something that I did, I believe, in the watercolor mugs lesson. It's either that or the apples lesson, which I gotta tell you, the apples lesson is enormous. Like there's so much content in that apples lesson. But yeah, that's the only repeat. And then masking fluid, just lots and lots of fun with masking fluid. And then, of course, the outcome is these fun pomegranates. And I used some paint pens to do some mark making and highlighting and that kind of stuff. So if it's something that you are interested in, check out my link below for the pomegranates class. I do have an early bird sale. It is on through until the 10th of November. So I'll give you a code for that. In the link below, it'll have a code, so you don't have to enter anything. So that's a fun little trick that I figured out. So you don't have to worry about punching any letters in or anything like that at the checkout. The link will automatically include the code for you for 15% off of this course if you get it on time. If not, it's still totally worth it. My courses are $40, which I think it's a steal for the content you get. I just looked to see how many hours of video there are, and I feel like I counted 3 or 4 hours. So I think that's a pretty good amount of time to really get into depth, go step by step through all of the necessary information to create pomegranates, but it's not daunting. It's not days and days and days and weeks and months worth of work, unless you want to repeat the lesson or like continue to make the pomegranates over weeks and months and years and whatever. I mean, like, I highly, highly encourage you to do that. But I just feel like keeping it accessible and affordable is really what I would like to do. Like, that's one of my goals. So, and you can see, like, these are all the pomegranates I've made throughout. I think it's within a year, because I was playing around with this idea last year. So there literally have been people that have been waiting for a year for me to release this course. And I know that this course is released pretty quickly after my last one, which was the mushrooms course. But I didn't want to wait too long and then get distracted again and forget again, because like I was like, I gotta get these pomegranates out. I've got to get the course out. People have been waiting, and I mean, aren't they fun? I just love them so much. I mean, look at that. It's obvious I've had a lot of fun painting these. So here's what I want to share with you today. I don't know how familiar you are with masking fluid, but that's just a fun medium that is, I think it's typically for watercolor, but it's a way to preserve either the paper or the color underneath the masking fluid. So you're gonna put fluid in some areas that you want to preserve, and then add color on top of that, and then you can peel that away. So here's what I have so far. I did go ahead and just get an assortment to try out, and I can't recommend one more than the other. I do know that you got to get the kind that is removable. There's like one kind that is permanent. Don't get that. You don't want the permanent kind. But, oh, and then I did put one of them, like if they don't come with these handy nozzles or handy fine tips that you can use, if they don't come like that, you can get a bottle like this, or sometimes you can find them for sale with the bottle, and then you can put your masking fluid into the bottle. So actually, let me share the brand that goes into this one. Yeah, so that's PBO drawing gum is what's in here, and that's my favorite. I do really like that one. However, it's my favorite because I've been using it the longest. I just got these ones, and I've only been able to test it out a couple of times, and they work pretty well. It's Daniel Smith. This one is Phoenix Art Masking Fluid, and this one is BENCYPRINID. So they all work pretty well. The only thing is, after you use them and you put the cap back on, most likely you're going to have to use a needle or a pin or something to re-poke that hole. Let's see. Let's just try this one and see if I do or not. So I am going to use this just on top of white paper, and I just like to, oh, nice. So it does work. This is a good one. If you don't like cleaning out the tip of your masking fluid, and it's so nice that it like already comes with the tip. And this one drops nicely too to make some really good perfect circles. Oops, that one came out a little fast, but if you kind of control the pressure that you apply to this, you can get tiny drops and you can get larger drops. Okay, also I think it's fun just to use it to like play, add lines, just do this whole swirly pattern. I love doing this with a sewing machine. So that's kind of fun. And then what else? Oh, writing, like doing some faux writing is great too. I don't have a ton of room on this paper, but it's just, let me just do it in these dots too. Faux writing in the dots. Why not? Okay, so that's it. That part goes pretty quickly. Like you can you can see I like to work pretty fast. The fluid comes out pretty quickly, so you do want to work pretty fast. However, that just means you end up filling up the page really quickly, and now you gotta wait for it to dry. Oh, something that I always do, and I wish I would remember not to do this, is I work on the paper with the pad, with it attached to the pad. So if I would have torn this out, I could have done another one, but I can't now. There's no tearing this out right now. So now here's the not so fun part. Wait for it to completely dry. And because I put these dots and things on here pretty thick, I like to have a lot of dimension to my fluid, to my masking fluid. Some of it has bubbles. That's okay. The bubbles are fine. But yeah, because it's so thick, it's going to take a long time to dry, a few hours. So be patient, wait for that to dry, and I will come back and I will show you how to add some paint on top of this. I went ahead and let this dry overnight, so it is completely dry. You don't want to do this before it gets completely dry because it does, like the gumminess will transfer to your brush, and that's not great. That's really, really bad because it's hard to get off. So just be patient and let it dry, or you can use a heat gun or something like that. But I feel like it doesn't really go that much faster when I use a heat gun. So I tend to just let it dry overnight or for a few hours. I'm going to use this lemon yellow because I know when I did my pomegranates, I did lemon yellow leaves, or I used lemon yellow in the leaves. So I know that that's a good color. Oh, what is this color? Oh, sap green. So I know that's a good color to incorporate into the background, because it's something that I have done. Now, I don't need it to match my pomegranates perfectly or anything like that, but I just want to start with some of that color. Something that I had used in the pomegranate is what I want to start with. And then I can go from there and create this mixture of grungy, yeah. Do you see that? It is not like super bright, pure yellow or green. It's very grungy because now I've mixed in like the magentas and that kind of stuff. So I kind of like that. But I also like to throw in as pure a lemon yellow as I can find on top of that. Okay, I probably am going to go all the way to the edges, so I'm going to do what I should have done at the very beginning and tear that out and just go all the way to the edges. One thing I love about watercolor is that I don't have to be so careful that I want to like stay off of my table or anything like that. It just comes right off. Okay, so I don't want to like use too many different colors, but I do want there to be some sort of a variation. So I'm just going to pull out any greens that I see on my palette. And I'm just going to kind of throw it on there with a lot of water, because this is going to be a background. And then just remember, where I have the masked off areas, I want to make sure that I get everything, the paper completely wet all around there, because there is a tendency for the brush to kind of skip over the paper right adjacent to some of the bumpy areas. And then just kind of go back over some of these places, re-wet so that they kind of blend in. I know I used some of my Prussian blue to mix in with the yellow to make the green, so I'm gonna throw in a little bit more of that. It's gonna give me some brighter greens. Okay, and I'm working really quickly on purpose. Like, this is not the part to be carefully thinking about anything. This is the part where your goal is just to add color, add paint to the paper, and get the whole thing painted before it dries out. That is the goal. So that's why I'm just trying to go really fast. So once that happens, you might notice there's some places that have started to dry out. So just kind of go back and re-wet a few places. It doesn't have to be every single place, but re-wet a few, and then take some just pure color and add in a couple drops of just pure color in some of these areas. And what's going to happen is they will kind of disperse, but I've created a border, like a boundary or fenced in areas with my masking fluid. So they're gonna kind of stay within that. And you can make this like really full of color that contrasts. You can make it like, you know, super contrasting, although it's gonna fade. Remember, watercolor fades as it dries, but you can try to make it so like it really stands out. Really dark blues next to bright yellows and whatever colors you want to create. You can, you know, go in and throw in some of this purple if you want to. And just choose areas where you think that you want the color to be based on how big that is. So I just want little hints of purple. So I'm going to choose the areas that are just smaller and not touching anything else. Oop, well, I accidentally went over the line. That's okay. So keep working like that. You can do as many or as little as you'd like. And like I said, it dries much lighter, so it's definitely gonna blend out and be like less of a stark contrast. But if you wanted it to be more, you just gotta keep going in there as it dries, of course. Like wait until it dries a little more and then add some really saturated colors. And you can even do that for like the letters, any loops, or you can do swatches that aren't bound by our fence, that aren't gated in. Can't remember what word I used before. Confined. And it still works pretty nicely. So just add some here and there, blend it out. And then this green here is part of the Warm and Cozy set. And it's like a yellowish green. It reads more yellow than green to me unless you use a pretty concentrated amount. But I love the way that looks next to the greens. So it's very much like a yellow green versus like the blue green. And of course I'm using just pure Prussian blue too, so I can go all the way from very, very, very blue greens to very, very, very yellow greens, and yellow too. Forgot that I did use the lemon yellow directly out of the pan, which is already mixed with a lot of blue, so it is green. I used to try and keep a lemon yellow that was pure yellow separate from the rest of my pan here so it wouldn't turn green, so I wouldn't mix it, but I just forgot. I constantly would forget and dip my blue into there and then ruin it. So I decided it doesn't matter. I will never have a pure yellow in my palette. That's just not gonna happen for me, and I'm cool with that. I've come to a place in my life where I've decided that's okay. I'm at peace with it there. Okay, just gonna throw in some other things like Indian yellow. See how that looks. Just a light wash. And you don't have to do every single place, but I'm in the flow now, right? I'm having fun. So do as much as you feel like you need to for the day. Maybe today you need to go in every single space. Maybe a different day, based on time, or based on mood, or based on how things are going on the paper, or maybe in your life, or whatever. Like, you get to choose what is the right amount for you. So I find it really relaxing to be doing this. I don't like to work this way without the barriers. It's hard for me. So I don't spend very long trying to do something like this. And trying to like be exact and work on my brush skills. That's not fun for me, but this I can definitely do, and I can get into. Let's create like this super muddy brown color just for fun. Oh, I didn't add any black into this mix, and I want to because I know that lamp black is going to granulate. So let me mix lamp black with, I'm going to mix it with the yellow. It's going to give me this beautiful green, and I'm going to add that in a couple places. And it is going to, as it dries, it's going to granulate, and it's going to be beautiful. I'm running out of places, except these teeny tiny areas, but I think I will Yeah, why not? I'll just paint some of those too. There we go. And it doesn't matter if you paint outside of the lines. There's nothing wrong with that. And also it's kind of fun just to add water around there and make some of that paint come out of that defined fenced off area, because that has a really cool effect too. So if I intentionally re-wet this and bring in, like, let this color kind of spill out, that's gonna be pretty cool. Okay. I hear my cat sneezing. I just think it's the funniest thing. My family, we love it when he sneezes. It's just like the cutest thing. Makes us laugh every time. He's out there sneezing in the hallway. He just sneezes because of his own fur. So that's one reason why I feel like that's funny. But another is just, I don't know, it's just too cute. Okay. I kind of want to do this, but I really like this area here, so I don't want to like cover that up too much. Let's just see what happens if I do this. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry. Ooh, let's put the whole thing in. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna let that dry and see how it looks when it's dry. You can see how wet everything is. The paint is really flowing. So I like to work this way with it very, very wet, so that when it dries, it's much lighter. And there's gonna be areas where it's a lot darker. And as the paint pigments spread out, some of it's gonna granulate. It's gonna be amazing. So be patient and let that happen. Again, if you want to speed up the process with your heat gun, you can, but it's kind of nice to just let this sit and do its thing naturally, because the more you let it sit and dry naturally, the more like granulation and that kind of thing will happen. So if you can, try to be patient. I'm seeing a lot of brush strokes here, which is not a bad thing, but kind of don't need it to be like that. Okay. And I do know that I'm gonna be cutting this up really small. So just think about that. Think about like, okay, if I were gonna cut this up into about 12 rectangles, I would have some that is very plain, which isn't a big deal, but I feel like it needs a little more color. So I'm gonna just add a little bit of splatter in some of the areas that look a little bit like there's nothing going on there. It's not a horrible thing if there's nothing going on. Like I said, this is gonna be backgrounds for the most part. I don't know, like some of these might be amazing just the way they are, so we'll see. But I'm gonna stop here and let this dry. Okay, it is all dry, and now I'm going to use this gum residue remover or something like that. There's a few different names for this, but it helps to get all the dried up masking fluid off. You gotta be kind of gentle though. I mean, this masking fluid, okay, here. It's kind of fun. If you are one of those people that likes to like peel off glue and things like that, you would probably have a great time with this. But just be gentle. I mean, look. Do you enjoy that? I'm not sure if I like this or not. However, I do enjoy, like, if there's something that's like this, on something that I own, I feel the need to get every single bit off, you know, when you get like junk mail and it's got this stuff that helps keep it closed. I've always got to rub that stuff off before I recycle it. Here's something that's interesting. When we get new electronics or whatever, or like a fridge, a mini fridge, let's say for example, I had a mini fridge, or my husband had a mini fridge for a few years in his office, and he brought it home when he switched jobs. And so after like 8 years, he brings this mini fridge home, and I look at it, and immediately I notice that clear plastic film that is on there, that's used to protect the screen, or not the screen, but yeah, I mean, it comes on TVs too. It's used to protect the screen of electronics. It was like all over the fridge, the side of it. It was like wrapped up in it, you know? And I realized immediately that he hadn't taken any of that off, and it bothered me so much. I was like, how do you live like this? I can't. I just cannot. I don't think he sees it. And I don't understand how he doesn't notice that. So pretty much anything that's his, and I don't really do a lot with, if I ever come across it later on, I'm just like, take this screen protector off. The remote control that's in the basement. I never watched the TV down there, and I noticed like the plastic cover wasn't off. It's just too funny. Yeah, I have to remove that kind of stuff right away. And I'm kind of enjoying this way more than I realized. It's kind of fun. And I'm loving how this looks after revealing that. So the dots, if you have one of these residue removers, it's great, but you can see that it's not necessary at all. But the dots are a little bit tougher to remove. Let's see. So it's kind of helpful to do this. It'll require a little bit, like maybe half a layer of skin if you just used your finger or whatever. My skin's pretty sensitive, so I don't want to remove any fractional amounts of my skin. So I kind of prefer doing this if there's any resistance. But yeah, do be careful. You don't want to rip the paper or take off any of the paint. You don't want to like scrape off the paint on accident. Okay, love the way this looks. Oh, I love it so much. So this would be a perfect background page for a book. If you wanted to make a book, it would look like that. You could do the other side too if you wanted. What I'm thinking is this would be fun to cut into different small ATC sized trading cards, or yeah, this is perfect. So these are from Collage Soup. If you've seen some of my other YouTube videos, you know I love working with Collage Soup, and I'm just like in love with their books. But Emily from Collage Soup sent me these cards, and I love them so much. They are, once again, if you're a person who loves tactile things, I wish I knew what to call those people. Is there a certain word for that? If you love touching stuff, which that just doesn't sound appropriate, but you know what? If you know, then you know, right? Like if you go into a yarn store and you have to touch all the yarn, that's me. I'm just like petting all the, when I used to knit, I loved going into yarn stores and just petting all the yarn. So if you're like that, you probably enjoy things like cards. And I just love these cards. They're called Treja, that Collage Soup came out with, because each one has some gorgeous images. The quote or the sentiment on them are awesome. This one says, more glue, less rules, which is fun. Smaller, stranger, louder. Okay, that's totally not what I thought it was going to say. You'd think it would say smaller, stronger, or louder, but no, it's stranger, it's great. I love the humor behind some of these. And then some are just, trust the process. Your weird is your magic. Okay, and then this is what really got me. On the back, it gives you a little prompt on what to do. And, like I create stuff all the time. I come up with new ideas all the time. But just like anyone else, I get stuck sometimes and I'm like, I don't know what to do. So this is just perfect. You pull one of these cards and you're like, you read the front and hopefully it's something funny. Glue down your fears. I mean, I love that. And then you read the back, which has a prompt, and it tells you what to do, which is like amazing. Sometimes you just need some beautiful card to tell you what to do, right? Create an ATC using only black and white images. Yep, super easy, fun, doable. Choose one real life object and add it to your ATC. Ooh, I love that idea. It could be like a 3-dimensional thing. I just love, you guys, if you've played with or played cards a lot, I love shuffling a deck. And I always thought that I was pretty cool. Back in my younger days when I learned how to shuffle like this. Like who doesn't think that's cool, right? So shuffle these up and then you can do like almost a tarot reading, right? Honestly, I don't know how to do it, but I've been told that you do something like that and then you pull a card and find the strangest face in your stash and make it the focal point. I mean, it's just fun. I just love this. Even if you don't do it, you can just pull a card. Just playing around with it is fun. Here's another one. Make an ATC using only words. No images allowed. Ooh, that's a fun challenge. So anyway, what I want to do is I want to cut these up into trading card ATC sizes and use this for the background of my card. So when I pull a card, I can do it on this. Great idea, right? Or if I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't lose this. This could be the back and this could be the front of my ATC. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and cut and then I'll see what these look like when I am done cutting. I got all these cut and here's what I ended up with. I love them. I actually love that, like I intentionally cut this off because it was so busy. So this didn't quite make the 2.5, I never remember the size, but this card here says it. So 2.5 by 3.5 inches. I chose to cut this piece off because it was just so busy. I mean, this is cool, but I don't like to work on top of this. That's just too much. So for me, I love these pieces that have just a little bit less. So I think I do. Oh my gosh, this is my favorite. I do like the pieces that have a little bit of purple in them. So, you know, I could probably use some more cards. So the next time I do this, I'll probably not go too crazy with the masking fluid and leave some more open spaces. Yeah, I love that part right there too. So I think this is my favorite. So if there was a way that I could recreate more like that, that would be awesome. And then I think it would be fun to glue and collage and add focal points to these. So they'll be super simple, just a focal point and maybe one or two other things. And that's it. So I'm really looking forward to creating with all of these. You'll definitely be seeing some finished products on Instagram. These are some bits that I have left over. I definitely will be saving them. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully you follow along, you play with masking fluid and paint and find just a little bit of peace and calm today, because I just love painting with watercolor in just a very simple, relaxing way. And I found that that's something that is just so beneficial, especially right now. So I hope that you get to spend a little bit of time today doing something enjoyable, and maybe even calming, maybe even meditative, but if that's not your thing, you know, crazy and fun, if that's what you need, then I feel like this is also crazy and fun. You could take this to wherever you want it or need it, right? So, yeah, either way, I hope you enjoy your day, and thanks for watching and following along. Bye. I know I do this all the time, but I promise I don't do it on purpose. I always have something more to say, or I always end up doing something more as soon as I turn the camera off. And then I'm like, no, I gotta show this because it's so exciting. So I kind of forgot that the beginning of this tutorial had some of my pomegranates in it that I wanted to show off. And then I was like, what am I going to put on these cards? Well, pomegranates, of course. I probably will add a little more, but for now, I'm just going to glue down some of these pomegranates in a way that I have been loving lately, which is just to put a tiny bit of glue. Can't remember. I feel like it was Megan Quinlan that taught me this, where you just use a tiny bit of glue to stick something on, and then you've got a lot of room. Oh, it's so hard to decide what to cover up and what not to cover up. Then you've got like all this room to tuck stuff in underneath if you want to. So you can almost work like from front to back. Because normally when people work, they have to like audition everything, get it all set up, and then work from back to front on gluing stuff down, which is so hard for me. I don't work that way. So I love this method. I just found these strips of their book pages that I had to trim, and I'm thinking that might be fun to add. So anyway, I've got a few things to work with. I'm not going to pull a card and do it on camera, but I just thought I would show you how I mean, this is finished, right? I could just put like one sentiment on there and call it good. Maybe I'll look through here and, use only circles. Maybe I'll just choose something. Use the tiniest leftovers. Choose something that is appropriate for this instead of, that's pretty, instead of getting distracted and reading every single one. Instead of pulling at random, I could just figure one out that seems to make sense and work with that. Oh, use your favorite image of the month and celebrate your style. There you go. Perfect. I found it. Okay, so I've got all these glued down, and I was thinking I just want to put like a nice crisp border around this. Maybe with white? I'm not sure. Maybe with black. You know, if I had a thick white that would cover that, I would use it, but I don't. So I'm going to go with black. I'm going to go with this black, the one that we used in the pomegranates. I think will be fun just to kind of create a border or an outline, and I'll use the same techniques that we used in the lesson where I can just put a few dots here and there just to liven things up. Although I don't think I need to make anything that lively. It's, oop, yeah. Just, it's very, there's a lot of movement going on here, so I don't want to do too much. So I don't think even like the dashed lines all the way around, I'm not sure how that would look. Maybe it would look okay because the marker, the pen that I'm using is so bold. But I kind of like the way that looks. Maybe I'll try it here. I'll try the dashed look on this one. This is why it's so great to just go ahead and work on more than one at a time. 3 is a pretty good number to work on at a time, because then you can feel free to try out a different idea that you're having at the moment that you're creating on the next one. Okay. Gosh, like that's pretty much all I really need to do, right? Maybe I should find some words. So let me go grab some words, because I have a hard time thinking of words. I won't write it. I'll just maybe get like a sticker sheet. Okay, I actually have this washi tape by Collage Soup, since I'm being inspired by the Collage Soup ATCs. Here's the card I'm using. Use your favorite image of the month and celebrate your style. So these are kind of fun. They have sayings like make magic happen, create with courage. It's on this kind of, it looks like notebook paper. So I was thinking this, I know it's going to be too big. So I can either try and put it in the back like that, or I can just cut out one word like magic or courage. So let's see. I think for this one, I'll just do create. Can I tear it? Yes, I can. So if I just use the word create, like so. Oh, I like that. Okay, I love that. And then I have courage. Courage should be up here. Like so. And there's with. Let's just do magic here. Or should I do make happen? No, let's do magic. Make. Kind of like that one just because it has the red line. But I like the word magic. I like that they're all like imperfect, right? Some of them are wrinkled. This one is definitely askew. All right, so here they are. Ooh, ooh. Okay, here they are. I love them. I love how these turned out. Okay, that's it. That's really, really it. I'm going to go now. Thanks, everyone. Bye.